Hello everybody, here for the Wargame channel, and welcome back to the New Order and to my Scotland playthrough, where we're probably just going to, not zooming in on the sea, we're going to just be, checking out what's going to happen between Scotland and England now. We're having a meeting at Westminster in 20 days' time. I don't know what will happen once we do A Bright Future Ahead, but we will definitely be getting near the end of this lovely playthrough. So, I don't know who I'm going to play as next, but I'm thinking the Italian Empire, possibly. Or maybe one of the Russians. The Order of St. George. I don't have a tree. It'll be someone. Serbian Black Army. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Anyways, let's have a wee look at what's going on in Germany. The German Civil War is still raging on as well. Oh, I've not even looked at this. Hawaii missile crisis. Well, that happened ages ago. Ongoing conflicts. Of course, we've got the Civil War in Germany. Oh, Heydrich's Germany's finally been taken out. There is so many wars ongoing. Okay. How many casualties has there been in the Civil War? More war breaking out. War is just... Oh gosh. That's not the German Civil War. Here it is. Oh, Bormann's Germany's not doing so well. Oh, I love how it's showing there's the world on fire. Nice. Right. Get rid of you. Everything's nice and peaceful over here though. Friends, not rivals. Open economics rather. 19 Gusvener Place. Establish an embassy. Our diplomatic envoys in London are doing a great job. It's time to establish a formal embassy in the English capital. From there we'll be able to keep formal and organised contacts with the new English government, and our countrymen living in England will have a stable administrative structure to help them should they incur into any trouble. Without further ado, it's time to send the formal request to London's government. The question of whether they'll accept or not is mostly rhetorical, of course, but there are formalities we need to respect in situations such as this. So, England will eventually be getting updated, so I'm not going to touch the British Isles after I've finished as Scotland. Good greasy food. He wants to tear his bloody hair out. The day hadn't started out particularly well for McIntyre when he had to respond to a minor scandal that some stupid MP had gotten engaged in. And the day had just gotten worse. He needed a break, or he was going to throttle someone. Gosh. The local chippy was alright, nothing special, but good enough food, and most importantly, not filled with ministers. The moment he walks in, gets some sideways looks. That's nothing unusual. And no one comes up and asks if he's Robert McIntyre. The moment he says yes, he's damn near swarmed with people wanting to shake his hand, telling him how proud they were to vote for him, how he's helped their sons or daughters. He can barely believe his ears and simply smiles back. When he goes to fish his wallet out to pay for the food, the server just shakes her head, clasps his hands and says, "No need to pay, sir. You've done more for me than you can know." It's the best damn fish and chips he's ever tasted. He's almost skipping on the way back to the office. He thinks he has another couple of meetings today, but that's alright, he can do it now. He remembers what he's doing it for. Honest folks and Scottish futures. Right. I guess we'll continue to work on stuff even though it doesn't even matter. Okay, more wars. The state visit to London was fine. No McIntyre. Thought McIntyre. Crowds were cheerful, the government was receptive, and the state dinner was as fancy as the ones that had been held back in the days before the war. His speech to Parliament had gone over very well, he thought, and the informal government meetings had gone well too. Well, almost all of them. While leaving Westminster Abbey, laying a wreath on the tomb of the unknown warrior, he had run into David Stirling. Stirling was well known to McIntyre, Scottish war hero who had founded a commando unit back in the war. He ended up getting captured and released after the end of the conflict, and had never stopped fighting. His Special Air Service unit had played an important part in the ECW and had gotten on well initially with McIntyre. Initially, the topic had been about Stirling's war service and how the unidentified British soldier from the First World War might have had very well been a Scotsman. However, the conversation slowly drifted to Scottish politics and unionism, which made McIntyre a little uncomfortable. Why did this man have an interest in the political situation of Scotland? McIntyre decided not to think any more of it. Lots of people down there wanted to know about the prospects of Scotland and the English boot once again. Sterling might have been trying to talk about a common topic of interest. McIntyre wasn't going to let an awkward conversation ruin his trip, especially since everything else had gone well. England's going to get a wee event for us making a wee state visit. It's a shame we didn't actually get to properly join in the Civil War. Scotland and the OFM. Yeah, we'll see what the Americans have to say to us. Looks like everything's going to take 35 days. That's fine, at least we can just watch the world continue the burn. Okay, still got Oberkommando Brutschtascht. I've definitely said that wrong. Wow. That is butchering it at its finest. And the kingdom of God within us. Okay. I don't know who I'm going to play as. And Russia's just got so much. I wonder what the Iberian Union's getting up to. He was a crook. Oh. Let's see what happens there. Alright, we've established our embassy. Let's go ahead and open our economies. Now, the borders between Scotland and England trade can flourish anew. Of course, the newly freed country will need ample economic help to rebuild and recover from 20 years of embargo and a civil war, and we're here to help. By proposing civil trade treaties to the English government, we'll both greatly benefit from the renewed trade. This will also help overcome the years of tension which plagued our recent history. So we go to export focus. That is fine by me, but then again, we don't really have much to trade. Well, actually, I do have a decent wee bit. Okay, gosh, war is really kicking off. At least we've not got the prospect of nuclear warfare just yet. And it looks like Hermann Göring is going to win the Civil War, which will be interesting to see what happens when he finishes his tree. Because Bormann's basically been pushed back to Austria now. When shopping for real estate in London, Scotland really wanted two things: prime location and room to expand. First attempt was to see if they could move into any of the buildings abandoned by foreign governments who didn't like the new people in London all that much. London considered this possibility, but decided it would make more sense if these structures were kept under their control in case of one of these governments suddenly break in with Nazi Germany and decide to pursue a more independent policy. They did attempt to make a bid for the old German embassy, but this was never taken seriously. So they shop around for a location and settle in an area near Belgrave Square. This was an obvious choice as many nations had nearby embassies, but it did take a bit of time to find a building that was big enough to handle the work that was expected to happen. Scotland was expected to be England's biggest trading partner after all. The English government helpfully offered the old Malaysian High Commission building for cheap since they were now a Japanese military reservation, but the space issues led Scotland to reject this proposal. Fortunately, only 2 blocks away, they found a row of buildings that was perfect. It was on a major road across from the palace grounds, and best of all, was damaged after being attacked in the ECW. They quickly bought the place fixed up, brought in some new furniture, and put a new coat of paint on the inside. Finally, the ambassador, in a short ceremony outside the building, raised St Andrew's cross above the entrance, declaring the Scottish embassy to be opened. We're truly a legitimate nation in the eyes of London. Oh, it's a glorious day. So, yeah, basically, our ally in the south, basically nothing else is really going to... The Gorky Tank Brigade. The Committee of the Liberation of the Peoples of Russia won that. A Red Sky Knight. Oh, okay. I'm very interested in doing these ones. A strong Scotland. Remarks upon the Scottish National League opening. Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic declared war on the Polish Autonomous Soviet Republic. What? Central European Council. Gosh, of course these guys are still ongoing. I have to say though, a lot of the boys in Russia are getting thicker. Some of them have not changed at all. Our sovereignty ensured. Sure, Mr. Mocha Lover's actually just started playing as, well, as him. The Empire of Japan. Is Japan interesting to play as? Don't actually know what's going on with them. Goring has won the German Civil War. And they do not have good relations with one another here. It says tree changed. It has indeed tree. Oh god. Faith in the gun. Games come to an end. Great Purge. Printing Führer. Prepare the new Germany. War Plan O. Oh, I've got to get rid of Germany. War Plan C. Oh god, this is going to quickly blow up, isn't it? Well, maybe we will end up at war with the Germans, we'll see. With our external threats subsided, we can now concentrate on our own nation. Despite our limited trade with the OFN, the traumatic separation from the United Kingdom was far from easy, and had left deep scars that will need to be mended in the future. We should immediately begin a concerted effort to ensure that our beloved homeland can grow both economically and socially. We are finally free, and will enjoy this freedom to the fullest. A red sky at night is the event we will get. I feel like Goring is going to go on a massive, and I mean massive, kind of reclamation kind of war on everybody. Because I'm just looking at the plan. First, he's going to secure Denmark and basically Poland, the Czechs, and the Baltic states. And he's going to expand that into some of Russia, into the Balkans, into Scandinavia, and it looks like England as well. Then, wow, even more of Russia into Spain and Italy. And more Plan C, looks like the Japanese and the Americans. So Goring is going to get very ballsy, it looks like. Oh, and I didn't mean to get rid of that event, I was wanting to read that. What have we got here? Oh. Oh. Send in the agents. They're very happy. Come on. Battleships on the Clyde. Why are they there? The army does not need to be doing this kind of stuff now. The Serbian Black Army declared war on the Federation of Novosibirsk and Altai. Russian Front declared war on the Komi Republic. Russia is just, oh my gosh, what a... Saying that the Serbian Black Army is getting very thick. I feel like Alexander Men is going to be losing here to Valery Sablin. Yeah, war is coming to Europe again. I have a funny feeling this one could end in disaster for everybody involved. Oh yes, the English refugees are happy. Principality of Yatka declared war on the Order of St. George. Okay, oh, they don't have a tree. I already knew that. I've checked them before. What's this one? Reputation of English. Gently down the stream, Adam buttoned up his shirt. He sighed after looking in the mirror. He had been a spy, not an errand boy for the Scottish government. He frowned and finished buttoning his shirt and left his room. He walked out of the inn in Glasgow. Rainstorm had come in earlier, and the streets now had a shine that the whole town smelt of petrichor? I don't know. As he walked to the raft where the warships had docked, he lowered his head and took out his identification papers. He looked at them and laughed to himself. The government had done a good job forging these ones. If they could fool the navy, then that's all they needed. Adam walked up to the entrance of the waivers and showed his papers to the guards at the front. After a few minutes, it felt like a millennia, he was waved on. After walking down the raft more, he came upon the site where he had been asked to meet the other members of the operation. It was an old dockhouse that was being used to store dry goods. As he walked in, he noticed there had been 3 other men waiting for him. It seemed. "Hey lad, you know a place somewhere someone can get a good drink around here?" Tom on the left had said this to Adam. The other 2 flanking him had been absorbed in the game of cards, but both turned their heads to Adam. "Only in Aberdeen," replied Adam. After he said this, the tall sailor smirked and extended his hand out to Adam. "Lewis Shaw, I am the leader of the mission. The 2 sit down, Daniel Cairns and John Bryce. I assume you've been briefed on why you are here." Lewis said this and then pulled out the book and handed it to Adam, who nodded. "Let's get to work. Let's find out what's really happening." "Yeah, what is going? Investigate the Navy?" "Well, the Order of St. George has been dealt with very quickly." "The enemy of my enemy. The Boer Republic." This is still raging on, like. But then again, it's because we have the Africa faction. They are trying their hardest to defeat them. They do have American volunteers, which is probably why they're holding on for so long. Do they have any focuses from? Well, they got bonus defense and attack on them all. Okay, more wars finishing. A strong Scotland. Encourage nationalism. The English have tried to quench Scottish nationalism for centuries. They tried to destroy our national identity, turn us into obedient subjects. But now we are free, and will protect our traditions until the end of time. To this end, we shall fund a campaign aimed at studying our ancient customs, so that they can be preserved and taught to the younger generations. The campaign will be organised and led by this newly founded Scottish National League, and will grow as we expand the scope of our efforts. And we should be getting the Red Sky event. Oh, that has been completed. Bugging the Navy. Louis walked through the tight corridors of the NSN Grafton. When he had come upon the officer's lounge, he quickly looked around the corners of the hallway and slipped into the large room. He was cautious while walking through the rooms. It would certainly look suspicious if a relatively new sailor had walked into the lounge. He looked into his pocket to make sure the device was still there. The assembly seemed easy. All he had to do was to position it in a place that is hidden enough, and also to make sure it can pick up conversations. He surveyed the lounge for a few minutes before finding a spot that would work. He found a desk that had a small overhang. It looked perfect. After checking one more time, he crawled under the desk and attached the bug. While this was happening, he heard footsteps and shot up, hitting his head. Louis scrambled out from under the table and looked for a place to hide. He saw a coat closet and rushed into it. He slowed down his breathing to stay hidden. Then he saw the dark hair of Daniel Cairns. He exhaled a breath of relief and exited the closet behind his friend. Daniel had been startled, but after a few seconds realised it was a fellow spy. Daniel was surprised to see Louis appear from the closet, and more at the fact he had had a small bruise on his forehead. Daniel had asked him if the bug had been planted, and Louis nodded while looking around. Louis suggested the 2 go back to the dockhouse to discuss the current revelations. Daniel agreed, and the 2 walked out of the ship and onto the raft. Once they got there, Louis debriefed Daniel on the recent developments about the mission and how they would need to place a few more before leaving. Cairns mumbled and scowled at the idea of being on the docks for longer. Another week here, seriously? Okay, and then I think we're going to have to wait and see. A red skied night. As President of Scotland, it's my duty to inform the populace of the current events that have taken place that have great importance for the citizens of Scotland. Doubtlessly, you know that I speak of the final defeat of the savage regime to the south. There have been much celebration at the news, also a deal of scepticism and fear. Some ask what happens next and what this means for Scotland. Well, I tell you now, Scotland has now preserved, through the darkest trial in our history, and persevered rather, and now stands as an independent nation. For years we have operated under the principle that a fascist invasion could happen at any time. Surely you remember your air raid drills, your mandatory service, your constant reminders of a terrifying conflict brought on by unholy machines and sciences. Many times you watched the news closely, wondering if you would see the announcer say the final battle for Scottish freedom had begun, and many times you heard the stories of refugees telling horrifying tales and saying that you were certainly next. Those days are over. Gone are the waves of refugees fleeing oppression from down south. Gone is the militarised border, and gone are all the Germans and their lackeys from this isle. Marshal Auchinleck and the HMMLR now greet Scotland as an independent and democratic power, no different from themselves. Now the immediate existential threat to Scotland has ended, to be replaced with calm and easy relations with England. Once more we have triumphed, and we have earned our right to survive as a democratic power in Western Europe. Now we know that any challenge after this one can be easily overcome, and we are on the edge of a new golden age. Scotland can now coast forever. Results are yielded. Inside Scottish intelligence, a message has been received from Glasgow. It has been received from the warships. The operator had listened to the radio and started to write down the details and was preparing to transfer the message to President Robert McIntyre. The radio operator sighed and began to write down notes, writing fast. He'd already torn up a piece of paper from writing too fast, so he had to be careful. This was of utmost importance, of course. He grunted and finished the letter and sent it. Robert McIntyre called a meeting with the Cabinet. They had many details to go over, but the overarching one was the issue of the Navy in the River Clyde. His members filled the room, and Abide came to Robert McIntyre and an aide, and handed him a small list that had been hastily written. The ink had barely dried as it was taken out of the envelope. The handwriting wasn't the best, but Robert McIntyre shrugged and read it. It seems that the notes had been derived from some officers discussing the plans. All of the following info had been transcribed from radio transmission. I read this at the top as McIntyre scanned by it. Who was going towards the best part, the reason why the Navy was in Glasgow. After scanning through conversation, it appears that the Navy has no malicious objective and seems to be doing an exercise with the Coast Guard on routine shipping and seem to be preparing for a recruitment drive in Glasgow. Robert McIntyre smiled. Thankfully, the Navy wasn't planning something nefarious, but instead was planning to do a recruitment drive and help the Coast Guard. As the meeting was wrapped up, the members of the Cabinet went home, sleeping peacefully now that they didn't have to fear of a coup above their heads. Things are returned to normal. Good, so the Navy can finish this up. They are doing something that is of... Do you know what? The nature of it is perfectly fine. Constables on the Navy. Left the Chief Constable office with a warrant to the Scottish Navy. It had been given to them by the Chief Constable, who in turn had asked by the Scottish Government to investigate the ships in the Scottish Navy who had docked on one of the rafts in Glasgow. Right, we're not going to read this because, well, we know it's peaceful. We know it's peaceful. Government reunified Kazakhstan. Oh my gosh, Kazakhstan is back. Kazakh Socialist Republic is here. Wow. Glasgow Police Report. The Scottish Navy had looked suspicious due to their actions by docking in Glasgow. Seems to be a bit of confusion. After consideration and cross-examination, it appears the Scottish Navy have no plans to attempt to influence the government or scare the Glasgow City Council. The reason for coming into Glasgow was to attempt a recruitment drive and help the Coast Guard out in a joint operation. Case bloody closed. What's Omsk up to? Okay, war is continuing. Everybody is wanting to expand in Russia. Everybody. Is China potentially going to slave of the samurai? No more 15-year plans. Constitutional approach. Oh, a necessary evil. Gosh, Japan has a lot to do. Temporary relief. Hakuichu. It's probably their expansionism stuff. Oh gosh, they're exiling someone? Oh. Okay. Okay, Goring. Panzer against tank. 250 million US dollars. Oh, time to make... They're going to make themselves go bust. That'd be funny if they did. This will just be telling us, well, yeah, that's fine. We don't need to arrest the officers. Everything is okay. Everything is A-okay. Infantry anti-tank. We're not producing infantry anti-tank? Shocking. It's outdated as well. Gosh, so much for getting more factories. Yeah, we don't even build anything. Can we get any factories? The Arsenal of Democracy. Well, that will hopefully help. Get some stability from doing that. That's probably a good... Well, saying that, our stability is already fantastic. Yes. Finish up encouraging nationalism. Okay, more wars are finishing in Russia. Europe for the most part has been very peaceful. Where to set up camp? Ah. Okay, as a Scottish National Party, we have duty to not only stand for pride in our country, but to promote it. To that end, we're setting up a new youth organisation called the Scottish National League. Lots of people in the party think it's a very good idea. The children get to have fun, the adults get to rid themselves of kids for a while, and we get a generation of Scottish nationalists. It's a no-brainer, but we still have to decide where to put it. Inverness is a top choice amongst many members involved in the planning of the league, and the reasons are obvious. The Highlands, the Loch Ness, the Highland Games. We can have the children do all sorts of fun outdoor activities and traditional Scottish sports. We take them on a few hikes and boating expeditions, make them throw a few weights, and they'll love this land and people that live in it. Edinburgh is also a good choice. We can bring them on many tours of museums and civic institutions. The goal is to broaden their cultural and civic awareness, so they know about Scottish culture and how their nation works. This will in turn make them better citizens and give them an understanding of the long history of Scotland and their ancestors. So there's two choices, two cities, two values we could instill in the youth of Scotland. Inverness for an appreciation of our land, and Edinburgh for an understanding of our cultural and political heritage. I feel like appreciation for the land is probably better for us, so we'll go for that. Let's go ahead and do Scotland first. We've been on our own ever since the United Kingdom fell apart, alone facing dangers much greater than we could ever hope to be. Through thick and thin, we stuck together, strongly believing in our strength as a people, and managed to overcome all difficulties. Now we need to turn our traditions and culture into fuel, which will power our rise to greatness. Scotland the brave, Scotland first. Good. Just oh, Faroe Islands is independent. I keep forgetting that. Independent. Oh no, they're part of America. Oh yeah, because part of Iceland. Duh 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 duh. Leasing Sato. Okay. How is Africa doing? Oh, the poor Republic is. Oh wait. Oh! Union of South Africa just won the end of the South African War. Wow. That has been on for ages. But they've done it, and they're now in the Organization of Free Nations. They don't have a tree. That is peace for them. Inaugurated President of the United States. Okay, Lyndon B. Johnson. Johnson presidency. Like I say, Kennedy, the mistakes of Nixon. Holy balls, let's open a big old tree up. They have put so much work into this. We're going to have to pay for all this somehow. Great society. Where is all their warring? When are they going to liberate Europe? Probably never. They've got a nice wee sphere of influence of their own, as long as, you know, unaddressed Quebec terrorism. That's not great. That's not great at all. Ah, the battleships in the Clyde are going to be leaving. Hopefully the army's going to be even happier with us. Navy leaves the Clyde. Luis was bored. He'd been sitting on the bench reading while the other three spies had been playing cards. Each day was a different game, from Go Fish, Gin, sometimes Blackjack. They'd been waiting on the dock when, on the loudspeakers, Captain Gordon of the NSN in Belfast asked all men to come to the forward meeting area. Luis shrugged at his fellow spies, and they walked to the meeting area. It had been a hive of activity since a few days ago. New recruits had flooded the docks as it seems a recruitment drive had occurred. As Captain Gordon had arrived, he gave a short speech to the sailors. Fellow sailors, today is a good day for the Navy of Scotland. Our joint mission with the Coast Guard had succeeded. We had interdicted 3 smugglers who had attempted to destabilise our country, mostly coming from the English with goals to destabilise our country. However, one of them was from the far reaches of Norway. Due to our cooperation with the Coast Guard, they will no longer pose a risk to any good Scottish citizen. Along with these victories, we had a recruitment drive that was aimed to recruit patriot citizens to our Navy. With our mission now succeeded, we can leave Glasgow. Sailors cheered as they learned they would be out of port, back into the sea. Luis and the rest of the spies looked at each other. His mission would finally be over. The captain ordered the sailors to attention and then dismissed them. The next few hours had been a hive of activity on the raft. Sailors ran around, grabbing supplies and equipment, and preparing to leave and steam back out onto the sea. The 4 spies had already packed up their surveillance tools, not before, however, they saluted the captain one last time. See, nothing bad happened. No, it's perfectly fine. And with some time, actually, we're going to put an end to the paranoia, which I think we'll go ahead and do next. We'll just get that sorted, get it done and out of the way. More war kicking off. Vuska wins in Ausland. Oh, okay. Don't think Gordon's going to be very happy with that. Germany's still in ruins, though. Oh, he's going down the Great Purge now. Martial law's coming. He is on his way to war. Oh, I can't wait for when he gets down there. What happens when he invades England? Do I get to join in? We are friends now. An end to the paranoia. Ever since we became independent, we had to constantly worry about our southern neighbour. The fear of an English attack, often fueled by hostile troop movements, forced our army to be on a constant alert all the time. This course has degenerated into paranoia, and even a single airplane in the sky was enough to warrant full mobilisation. Now that peace has finally returned, the army can be permanently demobilised. It will be difficult to return to peacetime military administration, and surely some of our generals will complain, but Scotland needs normality, and we need it now. Yeah, well, if Germany comes after... How are you doing division-wise? 13 to 18. Gosh, if Germany comes for us, we may be in a bit of trouble. Yeah, 38 to 89. They're not amazing, but do I maybe want to do any spending? We do have a decent bit of money. Okay, remarks upon the Scottish National League opening. It's a concern amongst many adults that the Scottish youth are not able to adequately experience the traditions and activities their forefathers experienced. That they spend too much time glued to a television broadcasting American programs. They go out for fast food instead of traditional Scottish fare. That they don't spend enough time gaining an appreciation of Scottish sports and culture. At the same time, there's a tremendous opportunity. We can assemble the youth of Scotland together by railroad or other transport in a singular location. We can show them the areas of their ancestors and have them read what they said in their own words. We have the capability and knowledge to give the youth of Scotland not just a love for their country equivalent to their ancestors, but greater than them. So the powers in me vested by the founders, I, Robert D. McIntyre, Prime Minister of Scotland, declare the founding of the Scottish National League, to provide the youth of Scotland recreation, activity and awareness of Scottish culture. A 16% chance that it will be alright in all the provinces. Okay, good. I'm very eager to see Goring's push. That's going to be very interesting. I have to get rid of Germany in ruins. Where does that go? Wait, did I just read a coup there? Oh, faith and gun. Lingering traitors. The Welsh Revolution. Terran Wales today is National Assembly. Rudderless for weeks after a devastation no confidence rule was stormed by military The state of Wales. The state of Wales. Kyle's coup. Split the Unionists. Oh gosh. Scum of the earth. Wow. Wow. Okay, this could be interesting for Wales. Oh, the alliance is broken. Oh, because they're now just one nation. Yeah, oh my gosh, atmosphere of unrest, minus 60. Yeah, they are now one big old nation. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen to the Iberian Union. Stay the Union stable. They are stable. The Union's stable. Oh! The demilitarized zone is now gone in Africa. I didn't even realise that. Don't know when that happened. You don't have a focus tree. An end to the paranoia is coming though. The paranoia is going to be gone. So what's it like? Sort of paranoid. Okay, that's good. It's improvement. Yeah, superior industry. Our homeland is cold and covered in hills, which means we cannot hope to expand our agricultural business. Industry, however, is another matter entirely. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, Edinburgh and Glasgow have been home to important industrial facilities. While the collapse of the United Kingdom had negative effects on trade and production, our industrial base is still intact, and all it takes is a large investment onto our business. We'll be able to expand our productive activities once again. A civilian factory. Oh, mad days, a civilian factory. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave that episode there. So, again, we haven't done any fighting, but at least things are getting better for us. We're returned to normalcy. Only takes 7 days to do this stuff. Yeah, Germany's probably going to a reclamation period. That's what's going to happen. They're going to try and take over the Russian Far Eastern Soviet Republic. I'm loving the restoration as a part of Russia. I really do need to start playing as one of the Russians. Oh my gosh. Meet with the Finns. That'll be interesting to see. Oh, the Aryan Brotherhood. Oh gosh. They're not even alive, are they? They're not alive. Wait, what's the gas mask for? Okay. The Battle of Barcelona. Iberia's test has come. Tensions in Algeria. Why has there been... Oh, do you know what? I don't know, and we are just going to move on from it. It's evident that our future lies in superior technologies, and for this to happen, we need an adequate schooling system. If we cannot upgrade our institutions, our industries will soon become obsolete, and we'll have to rely on foreign expertise for even the most basic aspects of our economy. To address this issue, we'll increase funding of our schools and expand Edinburgh's university to include several technical and engineering courses. For our new graduates, we'll have all the brains we need to ensure we are set on a path of progress. Is Iberia going to blow up? Is that what's going to happen? The Greeks have a tree. No, they don't. Euro military districts. You're actually struggling here. Euro military district. Where are you at? You should be over in here. That's the Ural League, so... Well, we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I shall be back soon for another episode. Until then, take care. Cheer, bye, the now.